Games tickets are on the line in Florida. Mal O'Brien hopes to continue her dominant run through the season, while another rising star looks to end her streak. Danielle Brandon wants to exert some brute force, and will we see a new and improved Amanda Barnhart? We preview the women's North American East Semifinal next. Hi, everybody. Welcome inside the Talking Elite Fitness Studios. I'm Sean Woodland with Tommy Marquez. Lauren Khalil will be joining us here in just a second as we break down the North American East women's semifinal. And look, this is going to be like a mini game. This field is loaded.
Well, yeah, you just look at the top of the games leaderboard. 5 athletes from the top 10 last year in the women's division are going to be competing here. Half of this final heat is basically going to be the final heat from the game. So it is going to be can't miss competition.
The North American East Semifinal is one of the first semifinals to take place on the semifinal calendar. It starts May 18th and goes through May 21st, so 4 days. There are 11 qualifying spots to the CrossFit Games up for grabs for the women. Now, Mal O'Brien comes in as the overwhelming favorite to win once again. She has already won the Open, she's already won the quarterfinals, and now looking to make it 3 for 3.
I kind of talked to Matt, we had a conversation after the last workout, and it was just kind of like, we know what to alter in our training and everything, like what we're going to attack, it just kind of, this is just proof that we're on the right track, and like what we're doing in our training is working and everything. And like the plan we had for after quarterfinals training, like leading into semifinals, is still going to stay the exact same with the results we saw from this weekend. So, it's just really exciting to not really have to take any steps back, and we can just keep like pushing the envelope further and further.
It's kind of the MO for HWPO to have their athletes get better through the season and not peak until you get to the CrossFit Games. And the scary thing about that is, if that's the case for Mal O'Brien, we have yet to see what she's fully capable of here.
Well, and even despite that, she still continues to improve her performances across the board in a ton of important metrics. You look at, obviously, at the games last year, she makes the podium, but she improves her average finish by more than 2 spots. Quarterfinals worldwide this year, her average finish improves by over 18 spots. She's improving top 10 finishes at every competition across the board. And really, she has a chance to make a statement here, even though her focus is on the games. I mentioned how many top 10 finishes there are. Realistically, I think there are 7 women here that have a chance at finishing inside the top 10 at the games. If you blow away a field that has more than half of the final heat at the games, oh man, watch out. That is a statement that I'm coming for the crown.
And there are plenty of other young up-and-coming athletes in the field here who could give Mal O'Brien a run for her money. I mean, Emma Lawson is here. She wore the leaders jersey at the CrossFit Games in 2022. Paige Powers, more on her in a second, but she has momentum coming out of Wodapalooza. You got Alexis Raptis, who has an event win under her belt at the CrossFit Games. So that's going to be a loaded field. And then you have Emma Cary, who is making her first appearance at semifinals in more than a year.
The thing that I have seen the most improvement in is being able to be confident, not because I think I can beat everybody, because they're not within my control, but confident that I can control everything I can do, like mentally, physically. I've put in the preparation, and then I can have a confidence and a trust in myself and a trust in how I will respond to adversity because of that. Because I've never really been through adversity before like this. Like I had a really like linear progression towards my goals. And I mean, this was so unexpected, so out of nowhere, but it taught me to rely on myself, like not on just hoping I was better than people, but on like what I could do to prepare. And it's been a whole year of that.
We all would have loved to have seen Emma Cary at the CrossFit Games last year, but it may have been a blessing in disguise that she had to take the season off.
Yeah, I think it's a scenario where it's going to be maybe 1 or 2 steps back and 10 or 20 steps forward for the long term. And right now, all signs point to her being fully back on track. Now, physically being past the injury is obviously big, but the improvement in her mental game and her approach that she has been able to tap into during her time away. We saw glimpses of that in Wodapalooza when she reeled in Emily Rolfe on the long run kettlebell event in event 2, or event 7 on the swim drag rope when she hit a little bit of a snafu and was able to compose herself in the moment, because she's been out of the limelight for a little bit and has been able to really go back to the fundamentals of being healthy and approaching the mental side of her game, that she can come in and apply some pressure to some of these big names and really shake things up in the leaderboard when all things are said and done.
Well, Emma Cary had an impressive performance at Wodapalooza, but Paige Powers was even better. She won the whole thing, and I don't know if a lot of people had Paige picked to win that competition, but now that she has that victory under her belt, she's going to be really hard to ignore the rest of the season.
Yeah, she's starting to build momentum, and it's hard not to be excited about what the future may hold for her after what we saw in Wodapalooza and how she rallied to take over that top spot and walk away with a win. And I think the format of semifinals is going to be beneficial given what we saw at Wodapalooza with a more condensed kind of timeline with more events in a shorter time frame. But then she follows it up with a second place worldwide in the Open. Her quarterfinals performance is better than the placement because 95% of the points that she got in quarterfinals was an event too with those wall-facing handstand push-ups. I don't think it was that big of an issue considering how she sixth on the Echo Press event. Everything else from quarterfinals is an average finish of 6 or better. So I think despite that one snafu, she's building a ton of momentum coming into this competition.
You have the new up-and-coming guard here in the North American East Semifinal, and then you still have some very talented veterans who are not going to go down without a fight here. Among them, Fisa Gaffi will be there. Brooke Wells expecting a big season from her, but Danielle Brandon, she has been pretty impressive since the CrossFit Games last year and looks to continue that momentum. And now she has a full year of training with Brute under her belt.
Yeah, and I think maybe this is something that's a little bit underrated for Danielle. You have to speak to her resiliency as an athlete, despite some road bumps along the way and seemingly every competition that sometimes are outside of her control. But she shows up and performs as a gamer under tough circumstances. Last year at semifinals, battling a back injury, she goes on and wins. At the games, she switches coaches and camps in between. She ends up finishing fourth, but was really in the driver's seat for the podium until the second to last event. 2 women right behind her on the leaderboard at the games are here right now. So this is a great opportunity to see how that full year at Brute and with her coach and living there in Naples has benefited her to maybe make her, jump up into the podium spot.
Well, one woman who is also trying to get herself onto the podium, who's shown that she has the potential to get there, is Amanda Barnhart. We were so impressed with her when she was a rookie in 2018. She's been with HWPO working super hard. She will be at the North American East semifinal. She knows it's loaded with talent, but that is not changing the way she's approaching the weekend of competition.
I want to go there and have a smooth weekend. I want to feel like I've seen improvements in my fitness. I want to execute in every single workout. I want to see improvements in my weakness workouts. I want to be consistent, and I want to qualify for the games. It's like those are the things that really, really matter.
Do you think that there's any added pressure, or I guess maybe what's even like the change in mindset of how the format for semifinals is different? And when you look at a region like North America East, it's so competitive.
Oh yeah, there's definitely added pressure. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't. When you have majority of the top games field in one region, that's going to leave a lot less room for error.
For more on Amanda Barnhart, let's bring in the third member of our team, Lauren Khalil. And Lauren, you got to go to Vermont, hang out with the HWPO crew, and I know you spoke with Amanda Barnhart. What were you able to learn from her about her initial season with Matt Fraser and the rest of the crew there at HWPO?
Well, Amanda Barnhart, she's somebody that is incredibly consistent. Since we first saw her at the CrossFit Games back in 2018, she's always been within or close to the top 10. Some of the things that she has been working on is overall, she just feels fitter with this new training camp with HWPO. But the biggest improvements have actually been with her weightlifting. Now, she's not necessarily an athlete who needs to get stronger, but when it comes to the technique, that is what she is really dialing in on. And for a veteran to change her technique with weightlifting, that is an incredible feat to take on. So those are some of the paybacks that she's been seeing so far. When it comes to the semifinals, she doesn't necessarily want to put pressure on herself to have a specific goal when it comes to the podium or even top five. She just wants to have a smooth weekend, see these improvements, and then have more data as she heads into games training.
Lauren, thank you so much, and really looking forward to seeing what is in store for Amanda Barnhart. And you may have seen in the video there her working with Rob Kearney, a strongman athlete, and also working with coaches that she's worked with in the past.
Yeah, Harry Pally, who was her day-to-day coach when she was at CompTrain. So even though she's under some new circumstances, she has some familiarity as far as the coach that she gets to work with again.
11 spots up for grabs at the North American East Semifinal in Orlando, Florida, May 18th through the 21st. Get your tickets and go. It's going to be an absolute blast. We will break down some of these storylines in more depth on our podcast as we get closer to the semifinal. So make sure you check that out and follow us on Instagram, and be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube so we can keep you up to date on everything going on in the fitness world. For Lauren Khalil and Tommy Marquez, I'm Sean Woodland. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and we will see you next time.